Imagine a world where one emperor tried to make his horse a senator, where entire cities vanished overnight because of a single miscalculation, and where a single vote once decided the fate of a nation. History is filled with events so bizarre, so utterly strange, that if someone told you about them today, you'd probably laugh and call it fiction. But these events really happened, and each one is more incredible than the last. Welcome to 10 history facts that sound fake, but aren't. Let's start with the year 46 BC, when Julius Caesar decided that the Roman calendar wasn't complicated enough. He added not just a day, but 2 months to realign the calendar with the solar year. That's right, the year 46 BC lasted 445 days. Imagine waking up in January, thinking it's just the start of the year, only to find yourself celebrating July and then August, all in the same calendar stretch. Romans were exhausted, but Caesar's fix became the foundation for the calendar we use today. Now, shift forward to medieval France, where a king once declared war on rabbits. Louis XIV, known for his lavish lifestyle and obsession with hunting, organized a massive rabbit hunt. But the rabbits were not ordinary. They were farm-raised, domesticated rabbits, brought out for the hunt. When released instead of fleeing like wild rabbits, they charged the hunters in an organized, almost tactical assault. Yes, rabbits attacked an army of humans. The king barely escaped, and this strange incident has puzzled historians for centuries. History loves a twist, and in 1835, the world's newspapers reported the death of the popular American inventor Samuel Morse. The catch? He hadn't died. Rumors spread that he had passed away, causing panic and confusion. But Morse was very much alive. Even stranger, this wasn't the first time the newspapers had killed him. It seems that in the 19th century, being famous often came with a side of accidental obituary. Imagine reading your own death in the news twice. Meanwhile, over in the Ottoman Empire, Sultan Ibrahim the Mad had a bizarre fascination with cheese. Not just any cheese, but a very specific type, and he was so obsessed that he demanded his officials constantly bring him fresh batches, sometimes hundreds of pounds at a time. His advisors noted that if the cheese supply faltered, his moods would swing dramatically, threatening executions and bizarre decrees. It's one of those facts that sounds like it belongs in a Monty Python sketch. But it's all documented in the annals of Ottoman history. The 20th century had its own share of unbelievable stories. Take the Great Emu War of 1932 in Australia. Farmers were losing crops to a sudden invasion of emus, tall, fast, and surprisingly resilient birds. The military intervened with soldiers armed with machine guns, expecting a swift victory. Instead, the emus outran bullets, scattered in unpredictable formations, and the humans retreated in defeat. The birds won. Yes, an army of birds actually won a war against trained soldiers. Australians still joke about it, but the records are very real. Even the way nations rise and fall can be stranger than fiction. In 1969, a tiny error in navigation nearly caused a worldwide panic during the Apollo 11 mission. NASA computers mistakenly calculated that the lunar module could overshoot its landing by miles. The error was caught just in time, and humans landed safely on the moon. If it had gone unchecked, we might have had the first space disaster broadcast live to the entire planet. That small miscalculation could have rewritten history in an instant. But history isn't just about wars and disasters. It's about the quirks of human behavior. Consider the story of Charles Osborne, a man who hiccuped continuously for 68 years. Starting in 1922, his hiccups began after a fall and persisted until his death in 1990. Over 430 million hiccups, and yet he lived a fairly normal life. Imagine attending a meeting, a wedding or a funeral with a hiccuping soundtrack that never ends. Odd, tragic and strangely inspiring, his story is one that makes you question just how strange human endurance can be. Going back further, there's the case of the dancing plague of 1518 in Strasbourg. One woman began dancing in the streets uncontrollably, and soon dozens joined her. They danced for days, some collapsing from exhaustion, others dying from heart attacks or strokes. Historians still debate why this happened. Was it mass hysteria, a reaction to famine, or perhaps a toxic mold in the bread? Whatever the cause, it's a reminder that history can be as inexplicable as it is terrifying. Then there's the story of the longest traffic jam in history. In 1980, a stretch of highway in France became completely gridlocked for over 100 kilometers, and the jam lasted more than 10 days. Drivers were trapped in their cars, some improvising kitchens, and even sleeping in vehicles. A minor accident had escalated into a historic nightmare of human congestion. If you thought modern traffic was bad, imagine a 10-day-long battle with hundreds of vehicles inching forward at a snail's pace. And finally, let's not forget the strange tale of the phony war during World War II. For 8 months, Britain and France were technically at war with Germany, yet hardly any fighting occurred. Soldiers stationed along the front lines spent their time playing cards, writing letters, and occasionally shooting at the enemy for practice. It was a war where the world waited, confused and slightly amused, while armies prepared for a battle that had yet to arrive. The term phony war might sound like a joke, but it perfectly encapsulates the bizarre limbo of early World War II. These 10 facts barely scratch the surface of history's bizarre truths. From murderous rabbits to perpetual hiccups, from calendar chaos to armies defeated by birds, the past is stranger, funnier, and more unpredictable than any fiction could hope to be. History isn't just a record of what happened. It's a reminder that reality often surpasses imagination, and that the world we inhabit has always been a place of the unexpected, the absurd, and the utterly incredible. So next time someone tells you something sounds too crazy to be true, remember, history has already done it.